I'm there.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So welcome to all the participants. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. A very good morning to all of you. My name is Krisma Singh and I am your host for today on behalf of the Nature's Eye. So Be the Nature's Eye, powered by Wildlife Arc, is a community of nature lovers who want to share their knowledge and experiences with the rest of the globe. We seek to deliver city residents relevant and educational stuff from the little living world. Our mission is to strengthen environmentalists all over the world. Through our many programs, we hope to provide possibilities for young environmentalists and anyone in this endeavor and anyone interested in this topic. Look forward to what we have in store for you guys and join us in this endeavor where we learn and explore together. This webinar is one of them, and there are a number of others on the way. The theme for today's event is Marine Protected Areas in India, which will be presented by Ms. Prachi Hafsa. Welcome, ma'am. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box in your control panel, and I'll bring them up after the end of the presentation. So without further delay, I take this opportunity to introduce the topic and our speaker for today. So when we speak about marine protected areas, what do you get in your mind? What are marine protected areas? So basically, marine protected areas are areas of the ocean set aside for long-term conservation aims. Currently, 6.35% of the ocean is protected, but only just over 1.89% is covered by exclusively no-take MPAs. Now coming to our honorable speaker, Ms. Prachi Hafsa. She is from Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. She is a wildlife enthusiast who earned a master's degree in zoology with a concentration in oceanography and fisheries sciences. After completing her degree, she began working as a research scholar at the CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, understanding the ecology of endangered species, measuring the richness of marine life, and merging the benefits of the ecosystem conservation with the livelihood are some of her study interests. I once again, on behalf of the Nature's Eye team, welcome and thank you for joining us in the event. Before I ask Ms. Akhtar to take over, I want to remind you that we have a great quiz session scheduled for you all today. So please stick around till the finish. So over to you, Ms. Akhtar.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'll start sharing my screen. Is it visible now?
It is not visible up to now.
Check. Okay. Now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So welcome everybody for today's webinar. Today I'll be talking about marine protected areas. As earlier mentioned by Krisma, I'm a postgraduate in zoology, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD at Maharaja Sayajirao University of Vadodara. And I completed my open water certification diving course 2 years back with the help of a grant. And today's webinar, I'll be straight talking about a bit about introduction to marine zones. What are marine zones basically? What are the major coastal ecosystems in India? And what are protected areas, as well as how do we classify the marine protected areas and how they are managed? Okay, and it will be leading to some conclusion. So as we all know that India has a coastline of 8,000 kilometers with an exclusive economic zone of 2.2 million square kilometer. That in the economic zone is nothing but designated area of the ocean ecosystems that are in that belongs to the transboundary that are economically important and that the resources can be shared with the other countries. So this is under the US Convention, and it is estimated that around 250 million people are living along this 50-kilometer wide swath along this coastline of our India. And despite of the ecological and economic importance of the marine biodiversity, there framework for conservation of this, and conservation and the coastal ecosystem and the biodiversity is still under threat. What are major marine ecosystem that are found? So the marine ecosystems are usually dependent on the water temperature, that is the water depth and amount of sunlight that area receives. So according to that, there are major three zones that are found in the ocean. One is intertidal zone, that is near shore area. Another is neritic zone, that is where the post intertidal zone, the slope continental continental slope actually starts, and above that there is an open water area that is called as oceanic zone. So there are different organisms that are seen in this intertidal zone. And so the intertidal zone basically consists of the area where the ocean meets the land. So it can be a rocky area, it can be a sandy area, as well as the organisms that survive in harsh conditions, because this area is continuously tidal, under tidal indention, or it is or continuously the tide regime is being experienced by these organisms. So they are highly developed for light area or the harsh conditions as well. So they have with the high tide or the currents. Coming to the neritic area, so the intertidal area was the shallow zone, and the intertidal area was the shallow zone, and the neritic zone is nothing but the shallow water zone in which receives ample amount of light. Meters, and then after that the ocean slope starts, and the water is very warm and receives lots of sunlight. As you can see, there is a lot of biodiversity you will see in this area, that includes fishes, sea turtles, many coelentrates, corals, most of the planktonic, as well as the neritic, the animals that can move or swim along with the currents, as well as they can swim with the buoyancy, are found in this area. Another is the floor. So much sunlight, the sunlight stops. This part doesn't get much sunlight. So the organisms that are staying in this area are mainly detrivorous animals that are feed on the decaying animals or the decomposing organisms or plants in the this area. So major ecosystems that are found in India are coral ecosystems. So animals that produce food with the help of an algae, that is they have embedded algae, that is zooxanthellae. This is food in terms of the shelter. So that is how they symbiotically live. And corals, as you know, that corals are highly sensitive to the temperature. They will be start bleaching. So the coral, the algae, which is residing inside the algae, starts going away, and the color of the coral starts fading away. So the coral health, or whether because of the climate change it is continuously persisting or not. In our India, And another ecosystem that we have been working on is the mangrove ecosystem. So as you are all aware that in Maharashtra also, we have been founded a laws that have been protecting the mangroves ecosystem. We have been mapping the ecosystem, mangroves area that we have been residing in their nearby areas, and Mangrove Foundation and Mangrove Cell have been continuing the awareness program for the mangrove ecosystem, and beach cleaning and mangrove cleaning up program has been going on. So they also act as a habitat as well as for nursery. They act as a nursery grounds for many organisms like fishes, and they mostly being mangroves being the trees, they actually help to trap the sediments. And as we know that mangroves occur all over the world, including the subtropical and tropical zones, where the tree where they are actually growing very well. So they are mostly found in the subtropical and tropical areas all around the world. And another neglected sea ecosystem that we haven't known yet, or we haven't been emphasizing yet much, is the seagrass ecosystem. Seagrass ecosystems, nothing system looks like just like an underwater seagrass bed. So the seagrass beds actually helps in nutrient recycling. It also helps in sediment trapping. It also acts as a food source for fishes or the benthic animals that are residing in the ocean floor. They also help. They also give them shelter, and they also as the mangroves as well as seagrasses and algae trap the carbon dioxide from the seawater and keep more carbon dioxide than the mangroves ecosystem. And this from the seaweed, the marine algae, we have been extracting many bioactive compounds. So they are been well studied as well. And most of the medicines that we derive are from the marine algae as well as seagrasses. So coming to the main topic, what are protected area basically? As Rasma mentioned, protected areas is nothing but areas that are being utilized for our, we have been utilized for the natural resources, or some people are being dependent on this, have been designed to conserve and manage and use the natural resources viably. So this protected areas tool have been successfully implemented all over the world. So that includes many uses, that if we are using it for some traditional based approach is used, or if we are using for some habitat, some specific animal or plant species that have been conserved. So that have been focused upon in the protected areas regime, or the tool that we have been implementing so far. So as I mentioned earlier, that the major ecosystems that are available in India are coral reefs, mangroves, mudflats, creeks, seagrass and seaweeds, estuaries, and saline grassland, or the marshy areas and the rocky areas. So so Wildlife Protection Act talks about such 4 types of protected areas. First is national park, another is wildlife conservation reserve. So what is the difference between a wildlife sanctuary? Is nothing but a natural habitat which is owned by the government or the private agency, which is to just safeguard or protect a particular species of birds or animals. National park is also a protected area which is established by the government, and which is which as you know, the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, we have been rearing some wildlife animals that are orphaned, or which are found orphaned, or we couldn't actually help them to reunite with their parents. So they have been brought up again in the national. into the wild. So mostly the wildlife sanctuary includes protects the particular species of animals, birds, insects, reptiles, and national park includes some landscape as well as some historical places that needs to be conserved, and the flora and fauna around it. So the objective of the both of this wildlife and national park is same, that we should be making sure that we have been conserving the viable that is getting protected, as well as the national park objects to protect the whole area or the landscape as in wildlife area. So the restrictions are less in the sanctuary. It is open to public, but the national park is highly restricted to enter the national park as well. Official permission is required to enter the national park if we are conducting some research activities. So we need to have that. The boundaries of the national park are fixed by designation. So human activity is extended up to certain areas in wildlife sanctuary, because we have been coexisting with many wild animals so far. But in national park area, that is not being allowed at all. So coming to the marine protected areas. So the areas, 1 second. So the areas which are designated as the conservation reserve, if they are completely inhabited or owned by the government of India to sustain any community, then it is designated as a community reserve. So if the part is also some part of land is owned by government and the community is using it, then it is mentioned as community reserve. So the protected areas, which was the concept was first introduced in Wildlife Protection Act, and it was amended in 2002. So these two categories were added after 2002, the conservation reserve and the community reserve. So in India, there are some about 45 community reserves, and we have about 99 conservation reserves, and that actually covers about 0.14% of the geographical area of the country, according to the National Wildlife Database. And so far India got their first Dugong Conservation Reserve, that is built now in Park Bay in Tamil Nadu for conservation of a dugong, that is a herbivorous, only existing herbivorous marine mammal. So this Dugong Conservation Reserve was declared just recently by the Tamil Nadu government. So as a part of the project which I am working on, Campa Dugong Recovery Project, conducted by Wildlife Institute of India. So in the Parkway Strait, as you can see, we have been rescuing dugongs. 6 dugongs has been rescued by the local community as well as the forest department. And 11 dugong, actually, we couldn't save the 11 dugong. They have been stranded in here. So the population, this area has been declared as Dugong Conservation Reserve. So coming to the protected areas, so first is the protected areas, which is the categories and the description is there itself. You can have a look. So the first category is the protected area, which is mainly maintained for the science or the wilderness population. Second category includes the protected area, which is managed mainly for the ecosystem protection or the recreational activities. Third category includes the protected areas, which is mainly conserved for any natural features or the natural monuments, such as caves. So the fourth category include the protected areas for conservation through management of any habitat or any species specific management area. The fifth category includes the landscape or the seascape conservation, that includes marine protected areas as well. And the 6 categories are mainly managed to for the sustainable use of this natural ecosystem. So whatever resources we have been using, we need to maintain them and use it sustainably. So what are marine protected areas? So marine protected area is nothing but a term which is given to protected areas for conservation of marine ecosystems in the world. So most of the marine organisms or marine species are highly migratory, and they are not confined to only just one area. So if we can manage that, suppose I'm to manage only Park Bay area like we have done for the dugong conservation, but it is not the case, because the marine species also migrate in between. So it is really hard for us to manage just protecting one area and saying that we'll be planning some management actions to that area, and that will be just specific to that species and that area itself. So it's not the same case, because we have been founding the standing reports all over the coastline. So as far as 2021, there are around 125 marine protected area species peninsular area, India, and 25 in islands, and 4 in the Union Territory of Lakshadweep Island. So the first marine protected area was designated in 1967 for the protection of wetlands and migratory birds. You can go through the list on the NVIS web. And I haven't given the whole list in my presentation. It was taking a lot of presentation slides. So this map, what you are seeing, is a very old map. The current updated map is not available on the NVIS website or anyway on the internet. So as I mentioned earlier, that we have blessed with a coastline of 8,000 kilometers area, and which is spread across the 9 maritime zones, the states, including the 7 territories. Parks have been, the first marine national park was found in Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat. Apart from that, this map mentions that there is no conservation zone. So this map was around 2010. It was not been updated by that time, since the later then. So Gulf of Mannar is a biosphere reserve as well. And the Andaman, Nicobar and Lakshadweep Island parts are here, the Pitti Islands. So mostly the island parts have been designated as the wildlife sanctuaries and national park as well. And one total community reserve, the conservation reserve, has been designated in the Odisha for the where the olive ridleys have been nesting along in a huge number, that is called as Aribeda. So this area have been protected also under the marine national park, marine protected areas. So what are the criteria for selecting the marine protected areas, the biogeographic areas? Let's see. So there is 4, 5, 6 types of criteria that we look into when we designate a marine protected areas. So the first is ecological criteria. So any ecological process or life supporting systems, or the variety of habitat, as I mentioned, that if an area has, suppose it has a coral reef, it also has a mangroves, it has seagrass areas, and obviously it should be if the ecosystems are present, it will act as a nursery grounds or the feeding or the breeding ground or the and it should also it also depends on the genetic diversity within the species. So it acts as it helps us to designate that area that it needs to be conserved. Also, it upon the economic contribution that protected areas is used for, suppose for recreational purposes, or the naturalness of this area. So it should be less human induced change. It should be not we have been continuously know that we have been taking some natural resources from the area. So are we using its sustainability, or the naturalness has been completely gone from that area? That also is considered. The social impact. So if we designate any area as a protected area, so what impact it will have on the local people, or it does it carry any potential aesthetic or local or national importance, or historical cultural importance? That also is, as well as the scientific importance. That is, if this area is important for the research or the monitoring of any national or international animal species conservation, or it forms like the park-based trade is also a part of where the is a part of Sri Lanka as well. So the half Park Bay part is also comes into Sri Lankan territories as well. So that is also considered one of the criteria to designate a that have been a part of some national or international boundaries, or it should be acceptable politically as well as the community and it should be also helped and support help and needs to be considered while designating protected areas. So apart from that, the legal state as well as the central government has the power to legislate on the subject of forest and protection of the wild animals, but they both, as well as national parks and sanctuaries or community reserve, and mostly that we have come up with the tiger reserves that been amended in 2002 as well as in 2006. So what are the economical drivers that have been helping out for the conservation and management of this protected areas is how we need to make sure that we need to search or research first how many biodiversity or genetic biodiversity or flora, fauna, organisms are there, how or what is the current status of the biodiversity that is there. Is it now because of any environmental drivers like or environmental calamities? Is there any pressure on this biodiversity? How far we have been adopted this uses, or we have been using it sustainability or not? It depends on the perception of the social as well as the as well as the legal perceptions also. So what are the basically the challenges which are faced in managing this marine national areas or the marine protected areas? So one is legislation. That also continuously depends on the community participation, and we also have to manage the natural resources. So there have been circulated, that is the protected area update. It is a digest and information that is circulated for the protected areas all over the world, and it is being in India as well as in South Asia. So it is produced by Kalpavriksha, an environmental action group. So every 2 months they have a follow-up workshop on the protected areas management by the Indian Institute of Public Administration. So the issues are available on their mail list. You can contact Pankaj Sesaria for the same. He'll be adding you in their email list. So you'll be continuously getting the updated issues every month that have been circulated. So what are the research or any what are the research and any other activities, or the impact of the what are the impact of the newly introduced projects or or the developing projects that have been possibly they are trying to fit in the protected areas, and how possibly they what is the steps taken toward it that have been included in this digest of information in the protected areas update. So in conclusion, I would like to say that threats to this marine ecosystem and coastal resources have been growing till now, and they have been still documented. The community ecosystem based approach is still needed further to lower or to completely stop the degradation of our marine and coastal habitats. And we need to take some stringent measures to avoid or prevent the pollution because of the habitat degradation or through the human induced activities. And the management plans which have and been working with the many research institutes have been working on the management plan of this to be checked. I mean, if they are implementing, if they are getting implementing the checked by the management authorities as well. So for this presentation, and thank you. You can be open to questions now.
Yeah, so has anyone got any questions?
So Tamogna Acharya has asked me a question: where to get more information on the marine national parks in India? So India's website or NVIS website. I'm just writing in the chat box. So NVIS website has been hosting the protected areas update as well. So they also publish a newsletter. You can find all the details on the marine national parks update, and I'm writing the protected areas email list on the chat box as well, so you all can get in touch.
I hope, Samogna, your question has been answered. Are there any more questions from anyone? You can type, okay. Okay, so Samogna has asked
between the mainland and the island MPAs. So because island MPAs as well as the island MPAs are not only, I mean, as mentioned earlier, that the community participation plays an important. I suppose in Andaman case, so the many islands are habitated by the local tribes, which we cannot approach them. So that is the main challenge that we face. And also while conservation, if we are focusing on any animal species, so like frequently, like the other marine mammals like sea turtles or something like that, we need to use more latest technology such as drones. So that is also a case that permissions is an issue where we go for the research purpose. So we need to take permissions from the local authorities. That takes a lot of time. So how can you protect or contribute to protect marine life? Marine life is not exposed to much of our human population. So single-use plastic. So the face wash that we use is also, if you have noticed, we get that Everyouth bubble wala face wash. So the bubbles that you get is nothing but the plastic balls. So if we can use eco-friendly products, that will be very great, useful to start contributing to you can go for a beach cleanup or mangrove cleanup, that you can be helping from your side to contribute something to protect the marine life. Yes, regarding the MPAs in India. So the actually MPA, I would say the possible research areas have been working on the boundary. So some of the boundaries have been designated, but the boundary issue is still there. So we haven't suppose for the Gulf of Kutch Marine National Park, the boundary is still not fully mapped on the Marine National Park boundaries as such. So we need to have that boundary designated for that area. And apart from that, what are the local community has been using the natural resources for their traditional uses, that needs to be find out, that we haven't touched yet up, or we need to research more on that particular aspect, because they have been using the natural resources. We haven't had any clue yet, but they have been using its sustainability, and they have been they have more information that we have, because they have been staying from that area from so long. So we need to encourage them into the community conservation, I mean, into the conservation activities. So we need to involve them. So that can be a possible research areas to in aware. They are utilizing for their traditional as well as the daily use. So with that, we need to look after as well.
Actually, yeah. Okay. So Amit has raised his hand. What would you like to ask Amit?
Box. Can you please drop your question on the chat box? I can't see. Hello.
Amit, you can type your question in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask if you have any query.
Yes.
One second.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question from Samogna again. Can a dugong be reintroduced? I heard
So
again had
yeah,
dugong.
so Bharat has also asked a question that as dugong population in India is decreasing largely, what we can do. So dugong population in India is estimated, the mostly populated is area in is Tamil Nadu, so that has been designated as a protected area or the conservation reserve that we are trying to do. We have been trying to the seagrass meadows. That is the only food, the dugong only feeds on the seagrasses. So if we conserve the habitat, we have an chance to protect the species as well. So we need to see the threats that animal has been the animal is terrestrial habitat. Unlike the terrestrial species, we just can't keep a dugong or the marine animals in captivity. During 1950s, CMFRI had actually kept a dugong in captivity, but unfortunately it died. So it didn't pose as a good example to keep marine life, or the that kind of animal in the captivity is not visible. So dugongs can be reintroduced. Chilka Lake has an Chilka Lake doesn't have a dugong, but it has a good seagrass habitat for which can be used, and it has been well studied. So dugongs were earlier there in the Lakshadweep Islands, but now they are locally extinct. So we have been working for the genetic approaches where the originally population of dugong is have been found. So the island population is completely different from the mainland population. So if we need to bring back or reintroduce dugong, we need to take up the genetic. Need to make sure that the island population is also introduced, or island population is also there, so that there won't be much genetic so that the species can thrive if we have to reintroduce them again. Oh, I hope just we don't need to do that much. We try to conserve as many dugong species. Dugongs are there in India as well. Gangetic River dolphins. So I'm sorry, I don't have any expertise on the Gangetic River dolphins, but Wildlife Institute of India have been conducting a program on the in the 6 states that Gangetic River dolphins have been found. So so since the Gangetic dolphin population is still not been estimated, they are trying to do that, as well as the other project that has been running around is the Ganga rejuvenation project. So as a part of that, they have been doing capacity building workshop, as well as creating awareness among the local communities to involve them in the conservation projects. So they have been working with the communities for Clean Ganga Mission, as well as they conduct school programs or many awareness pamphlets, or they river fauna basically. You can check the details on the website as well. It's all there. So I basically got interested working on the marine life when I first went for I visited Velas Turtle Festival. So in that turtle eggs, and they were actually just sending the hatchlings back to the sea. So I came to know that sea turtles have been residing from the time of dinosaur, and I got interested because they just come to the shore just to lay eggs, and they completely spend their whole life in the sea, and the females only comes up on the surface or on the shore just to lay eggs, and they go back to the sea again, and the males don't ever come back to the sea to the shore. So it's highly difficult to see them or to sight them. So that made me interested to work on the particular species.
Okay, so anybody, any more questions? Any further questions? You can type a yes or a no in the chat box. Okay, so looks like we we are done with the questions. So thank you, Kratri, for this very insightful and knowledgeable talk. It was very interesting, and we loved you here to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And so is there anything else that you would want to cover before the wrap up?
No, anybody, anything? Okay, so there have been one more question. One of the slides you mentioned management plan of the MPS has not been based on the large areas since marine reserve. We know that climate change is one of the biggest issue and also affecting the marine biodiversity. In some research paper, it is observed how it affects the migratory behavior in marine species. So is there any significant challenge that we are currently facing in NPA management due to it? Yes, as I mentioned that Gulf of Mannar, it is also a marine biodiversity hotspots. So the climate change that have been observed, we have been reporting the coral bleaching has been reported from that biodiversity hotspot as well, or the biosphere reserve as well, and that has been affecting the floral or the fauna species that have been associated with it. So that is also biggest challenge for us to maintain. So if we have to take into consideration whatever the residual areas or the whatever the residues is being thrown out in the sea, we need to make sure that we have been processed it very well so that it won't affect the sea water or the temperature of the sea water. So it won't be affecting the biodiversity, and that we need to make sure because it just goes hand in hand. Any other questions? And I would like to say that please from your side, please try to attend more beach cleanup, or you try to go for more shore walks. So you will be related and you'll be feeling the connection towards the marine life that we have been part of it. And you can join us for the next webinars as well, or you can volunteer with us if you need to get some experience on the how the conservation activities have been conducting out on the field. That's where.
Yeah, so I guess we're done with the question and answer session. And thank you all the participants. And thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful talk that you've given. Also, I would like to announce a two-day webinar that is on 26th and 27th of March, basically on marine flora and fauna. One is the dugongs and their habitats, and the other one is seagrass ecosystem. So anybody who would like to join the session, they're welcome and appreciated. We'll be sending the links in the chat box itself. All of you are welcome for that. It will be a paid event. Okay, so without any further delay, let's move on to the quiz, which is a fun session that we planned for you. So I request everybody present here to participate. We will start with a practice session for the quiz first. So everybody has to open kahoot.it in a separate device for the session. If I'm able to. Has everybody understood what they have to open? No.
Okay, so for the quiz session, we will be playing it on Kahoot. And for that, if you have logged in through your laptops or your phones, and if you have another device with you, like another mobile phone, or if you're from the laptop, if you have another mobile phone, it would be great that if you could just type this site, kahoot.it, and we'll share the game pin with you, and then we can start. Even if you are using a single device, you do not have other devices, you can just open this site in another tab, and we will show you how this works with a few demo questions, and then we'll go to the main quiz. So the site's name is kahoot.it. So please open that.
Yeah, Meenakshi, this screen is being shared. You can see the game pin in there. Okay.
Yes, so this is the game pin.
Visible? Is the screen visible to everybody? You can type a yes or a no. And okay, Hamna, yes, it is visible. Everybody else? Okay, Meenakshi, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What about others? There are 53 participants altogether. I'm just getting very less on yeses. Dipanshu, Shraddha, okay. What about others? I've only got 4, 5 yeses. The game pin is on the screen itself, Sana. Okay, Tamogna, it is not visible to you yet. So would you try joining again? Because it is visible to everybody else and to me too. So if you can join again. Thank you, ma'am. Sachi, ma'am. Ma'am, you can also join the quiz if you wish to. Okay, so I can see a lot of participants here, but still we are not complete with the participants. There are many more to join. Who is TA and what is SM? Tamogna, is it visible to you? Yeah, okay, okay. Great. Have you joined? Okay. What about other participants? I cannot see a lot of them. Okay, so guys, this is this this is going to be a practice session, okay, so that you're familiar with the quiz. How do you have to go with the quiz? Okay, and it will be very fun and easy for you. And there will be 2 questions in the demo session. So Aparna, I think we can start with the demo.
Okay.
Okay, are you able to see it on the screen, and then you have to change the tab? Oceans cover about 55% of the Earth's surface, true or false? The blue is for true and the red one is for false. Okay, so we have the answers, and the false is the correct answer, and 6 people have answered false and 3 people have answered true. So I guess you're able to understand how you have to go with it.
Okay, just a
Next
minute.
question.
Yeah, so everybody, the presenting screen that you are presenting, the questions will be here. The answers will have a color code, and in your other device or your other tab where you have entered the game pin, there you just have to click on the answer, like the color code of the answer that you think is the right one.
I hope everybody was able to understand that. What is the time limit? Aparna, what is the time limit?
30 seconds for each question.
30 seconds. Okay. Okay, so we have the next question here. What is a shark skeleton made of? Bone, cartilage, titanium, or keratin? Bone is for red, cartilage is the blue, titanium is yellow, and keratin is the green. Okay.
Okay, so we'll continue to the main one again. If you can just go back and reach the end game entry pin site again.
Yeah, so the demo session is over, and I hope everybody was able to get how do you have to play. So now the real quiz will start, the actual quiz. Okay, so you just whatever you did before, like you entered the game pin, you went to kahoot.it, you do that again, and here is the new pin on the screen, 8076328. Enter this new pin, everybody. Okay, we have got 5 participants, 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. Okay, we'll wait for 2 more minutes. It's good to see everybody joining it. Okay, guys, fast. Everybody. Anyone left to join? Okay, Aparna, I think, okay, Bharat has joined. I think we can start then. There are 20 participants.
Okay.
Okay, guys, best of luck. The first round is a true and false session. Okay, so we have the first question, and that is the accidental capture of a non-target species in fisheries is called bycatch. Is it true or false? Again, a reminder, the questions are on the screen and you have to change the tab to see the question and then answer. Okay, so the correct answer was true and 15 of them have answered right. Okay, Unimaya is on the top. Great. The fin. Okay, so we have the next question. That is, polar bears are actually black, not white. Is it true or false? You have 18 seconds. Okay, fast everybody. Okay, so the time is up. And the correct answer is true. They do have a black skin. Okay, and Semogna is on the top. Great. Okay, so the next question is, turtles can't feel what's on their shell. Is it true or false? So it's the fastest fingers first kind of sound. Okay, so the correct answer was false. And we have the next question coming up. Before that, the leaderboard says Chahat is on the top. Okay, so the next question is, seahorses can change their sex. Is it true or false? Manmohan, you don't have to answer in the chat box. The quiz is there to answer. Okay, so the correct option was false. And the leaderboard has changed again, and we have Shreya on the top. Great, Shreya. The next question is, a salmon will always return to its birthplace. True or false? You have 7 seconds left. Everybody fast. Okay, so the correct answer was true. Now let's see the leaderboard. Shreya is on the top with the fire sign. Okay, so the next question is, all of the oceans, of all the oceans, the Indian Ocean has the deepest trench. Is it true or false? Okay, so the correct answer was false. And we have the leaderboard that says Chahat is on the top. Okay, so the next question. India is the world's second largest exporter of seafood after China through port. Okay, so we have the correct answer as, let's see who's on top. Okay, we have Unnimaya followed by Deep and Shrishti. Okay, now the next. Whales have belly buttons. Is it true or false? Okay, so we have the correct option as true. Now let's see who's on top. Okay, we have Chahat again on top. Now headed to the next question, and that is a group of jellyfishes called a snack. Okay, so we have Chahat on top. So the next question is, seaweed is poisonous. Is it true or false? Okay, so the correct answer is false. Seaweeds are not poisonous. We have them. We eat them. We include them in diet. And the leaderboard says that Chahat is on top. Okay. Okay, so the next question is, coral reefs only live in warm tropical seas. Is it true or false? Okay, so the correct answer is false. And we have Unnimaya on top. Now, the next question is, the anemones often have tiny plants living inside their body. True or false? Okay, so we have Deep on top. The next question is, on average, a shark can lose as many as 20,000 to 30,000 teeth throughout its lifetime. Is it true or false? Okay, so it was true. Sharks can lose as many as to 20,000 or 30,000 teeth throughout their lifetime. So the next question. We again have deep on top, great going deep. Okay, so this is a double point question, all of you. Which type of fish is Nemo? Is it a pufferfish, goldfish, clownfish, or a butterfly fish? And this is round two. Identify the picture round. Okay, so the correct option was clownfish, and almost everybody has answered it correct. Now, the second question of round two, identify this marine mammal. See the picture and identify. Is it a dolphin, a beluga whale, a porpoise, or a dugong? Okay, so the correct option was porpoise. And we have deep on the top. Okay, so the next question is, it's not really a crab, but what is it called? See the picture and guess what it is. Okay, so this was a horseshoe crab. And we have deep again on top. Okay, so the next question is, do you know the name of this monster fish? This is a beautiful monster fish. Okay, so the correct answer was blue marlin. This was a blue marlin. Then leaderboard says that deep is again on the top. It is considered a delicacy, but do you know what it is called? See this and identify what is it called. Okay, so it is a geoduck. And we have deep again on the top. followed by Chahat and Unaya. Then the next question is choose the correct name for this flatfish. It seems the fish is very, very camouflaged. Okay, so the correct answer was tasseled wobbegong. The next is this monster fish. Actually a shark. What shark is this? So the correct answer is frilled shark. And we have Chahat on top. Okay, so the next question is guess the phenomenon in the picture below. What is this phenomenon which makes the sea so beautiful at times? Okay, so the correct answer was bioluminescence. And we have Chahat on top. Okay. Now the next question is identify this beautiful creature. What is it? Okay, so the correct answer was nudibranch. And we have Chahat on top. Okay, so this is the final question for this round. Which marine animal is Oswald? Okay, so the correct answer is octopus. Okay, so the next round is MCQ round, and the first question of it, marine habitat includes estuaries and seahorses, mangroves and streams, rivers and estuaries, or lakes and ponds. Choose the correct option. Okay, sorry, it's estuaries and seashore. And the correct option is estuaries and seashore. Next. Okay, we have Chahat on top. The next question is, which coastal area has the longest coastline in India? Okay, the correct answer is Andaman and Nicobar. And the leaderboard says that we have Chahat on top, followed by Shrishti and Deep. The next question is, what are the sources of sediments causing marine pollution? Okay, so the correct option was all of the above, causes marine pollution. And we still have Chahat on top, followed by Shrishti and Deep. Okay, so the next question is, the zone in the ocean where there is plenty of light for photosynthesis. What is that zone? Okay, so the correct answer is photic zone, as it is very that from the name only, photic photosynthesis. And the leaderboard says Chahat is on top. Okay, so we have the next question, and that is, a major portion of the free oxygen found in the ocean comes from. So you have to identify from where does the major portion of the free oxygen which is found in the ocean, where does it come from? So the correct option is cyanobacteria. And Chahat is on top. Okay, so the next question is, eutrophication is a type of pollution caused by. Okay, so the correct option was fertilizer. Eutrophication is caused by fertilizer, usage of fertilizers. And we have Chahat on top, followed by Tamogna and Shrishti. Okay, so which of the following is the largest mangrove forest, not only in India, but in the world? This is our next question. You have to answer which is the largest mangrove forest in the world. You can see the picture, and if you can identify it through the picture. Okay, so the correct option was Sundarbans. And we have Chahat on top. The next question is female hawk-billed turtle make funny sounds when nesting, which can sound like. So when these turtles, hawk-billed turtles are nesting, they make very funny sounds and you have to guess what sound do they make. What does it look like, sound like? And it is a belch. So they sound like belch. Okay, so we have Chahat on top. The next question is, how many species of dolphins are found in India? Okay, so the correct answer is we have 2 species of dolphins in India. And the leaderboard says that Chahat is on top. Okay, so the next question is, in high numbers, which microalgae causes red tide? And the correct answer is dinoflagellate. So the dinoflagellates are responsible for the red tide. And we have Chahat on top, followed by Unnimaya and Tamogna. Next question is, the outer shell of a diatom is composed of silica, calcium, protein, or nitrogen. You have to guess what does the diatom composes of, the outer shell of diatom, and we studied this in 11th or 12th, I guess, the ones that belong to PCB background. Okay, so the correct option is silica. So the outer shell of the diatom consists of silica. And we have Chahat on top, followed by Unnimaya and Tamogna. Okay, so the next question is, a seabird that was particularly affected by pesticides such as DDT. What is that seabird that was particularly affected by pesticides? You have to guess the particular species. Okay, so the correct answer is pelicans. Pelicans were affected by pesticides. And we have Chahat on top. The next question is, the energy source for the bacteria that thrive around deep sea hydrothermal vents is. So what is the energy source for the bacteria that thrive around the deep sea hydrothermal vents? So the correct answer is hydrogen sulfide. And we have Chahat on top. Okay, so the next question is, what makes an octopus's blood blue? So why is an octopus's blood blue? What makes it blue? Okay, so the correct answer is copper. So the next question is, sea turtles drink a lot of seawater. How does it get rid of the excess salt in its body? Okay, so sea turtles cry and the second last question is, who has the longest gestation period of all cetaceans? The correct answer is orcas. So the longest gestation period of all the cetaceans is orcas. And the leaderboard says that Rahat is on top. Okay, so the next question is, which sea creature is known as the chameleon of the sea? We have chameleons in the sea too. Rahat as our winner, followed by followed by Unimaya and Tamogna. So congratulations, all three of you. And the runners are Parshishti and one more with there. That was, I hope everybody enjoyed the quiz.
Hello. So after a nail-biting brigade of questions, we finally have our winners. Congratulations to them all, and a heartfelt gratitude to everyone who participated in this quiz. Today's webinar was just a beginning, and we have so much more planned for you all. In addition to some thrilling contests, we have 2 more webinars lined up for you. So if you want to learn more about marine ecosystems and their inhabitants, please do turn up on 26th and 27th of March, respectively. Also, to avail some exciting discounts, please make sure to register within the next 2 hours. Also, contact us for more information. Hoping to see you all again. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanaka.
Thanks a lot. This is me, Aman Vishwas from the team Nature's Eye. I would like to thank all the participants and all the organizers for organizing such a beautiful webinar. I hope all the participants would have enjoyed it and hope to see you in our upcoming webinars. You can contact our site or the team members and they'll guide you. Thank you. I think we may end this webinar, na?
Yes.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Hope to see you ahead.
Thank you everyone for joining. It was very great to see you all.